Hi everyone, it's Farouche and welcome to the channel. I'm excited to be here with you guys today to talk about the Scorpio full moon on Monday morning. In fact, we're going to talk about the weekend before the full moon because that's when the majority of things I think will happen over the next 72 hours or so leading into the full moon, and I'll explain everything in the astrology in just a minute. After that, we are going to do the full tarot card reading for the collective. And I'm just going to let you guys know that I think this will be my full moon reading. And I'll explain why I might not be doing other readings until after the full moon. There's a very specific reason astrologically why this is a good idea. So let me explain everything bit by bit, and then you'll understand why I might not be doing an all sign for this full moon at this point. Okay, so the full moon is always the sun opposite the moon, and this will happen on Monday morning at 10 a.m. Pacific time. However, the energy leading up to the full moon is when the moon will enter Scorpio, because the full moon is happening in the third decan of Scorpio, 22 degrees. And so the moon will have to transit all the way through Scorpio until you have the full moon. So before that happens, the moon will reach its apogee. The apogee represents the furthest position of the moon from the earth. This is called Lilith, and this is the darkest position of the moon. This is the moon where it is most unlike itself and most distant. And so, especially in Scorpio, this energy is very fickle, and I'll explain everything in a minute, and I'll tell you all the things that you need to know in order to avoid trouble under this energy, because you can really get into some unique situations that can cause you problems, okay? So be careful of this energy throughout the weekend, and we're going to talk about why that is. And it is this energy as the reason why I might not be doing an all sign, because I might be taking a psychic diet over the next couple days. I've already had warnings psychically or intuitively that it's a good time to back off of certain types of interactions, specifically with the paranormal, and I'll explain more about that in a bit. Lilith is in this position in Scorpio about once every 9 years, and the full moon in Scorpio happens at the apogee once every 9 years. So every single year we have a micro moon, or actually several, but not all the time in Scorpio. And I think that's why the energy could potentially be so intense here. Okay, so this is one of the darkest micro moons because it's in Scorpio. But if you consider the position of the planets, there is some astrological context to this beyond just the position of the moon. As the moon enters Scorpio, it will form a T-square to Pluto and Mars. As you've probably heard on the internet, Mars opposed Pluto a few days ago, and when the moon enters Scorpio and joins Lilith, this will be a T-square, which is a 90-degree angle to Mars and Pluto, which are in opposition. This is a friction energy. It's an activation point through friction and the energy sort of pulling itself in different directions. While this is happening, Mercury will enter into Taurus and create a grand cross between the four transits. This will be a very tense energy. From even the time that I'm filming, I'm already getting downloads or intuition about this. So when Mercury enters into Taurus, it will oppose Lilith and create this giant grand cross between the four transits. This energy will create a lot of instability and a lot of pressure. There will be competing interests that will be pulling in different directions at the same time. This is why it's wise and advisable to take a step back if you can and don't engage these energies too much. So don't be head on with things in general. Take a step back, because things can move quickly, things can change quickly, and you really want to stay out of the way of a lot of these types of behaviors and energies. I really wanted today's astrology to be super short, so I'm not going into the celestial dynamics of it all, but I do want to go over a pretty detailed list of different things you may be experiencing when moon reaches Lilith. And this is a general observation. Watch out for these things. Some of these things may be helpful, but this is a lot of warning signs and a lot of things to be careful of or tiptoe around through this energy. First of all, toxic patterns may surface, and this means all sorts of different toxic patterns, be it yours or other people. You may see people acting out certain things. Think of maybe the superego kind of projecting itself into situations, people's masks coming off, and them kind of, think of narcissistic unmasking, like wanting to show you their power or their energy. You might actually see a lot of these self-disclosure energies, but not for the purpose of disclosure, but for the purpose of intimidation or asserting itself. So it's better just to sit back and pay attention as people's egos show up, what their true intentions are, and that can be helpful for you. But this energy affects all of us, and so me, you, and your sister, your brother are also affected by this energy. And so it's important to also pay attention as to how it's affecting you personally. And so if you see a behavioral pattern that is not desirable come up, this is the time, and this is how this energy is helpful to eradicate it and move it out of the way. So if there's something about you that has certain level of aggression or seediness about it, and we all have a dark side, you may see that side of yourself emerge, and so it's up to you to acknowledge it and choose a different path. You may see a lot of obsessive behavior, both yourself or other people. Again, stay out of the way of other people who may be acting in a compulsive way. Well, if you see that in yourself, also try to do it differently if you can. In that same energy, anger, fear, and strong emotions may be a trigger for people and these bad behaviors. So if you can try to avoid tense situations where you may act out of character or act unlike yourself. You may see betrayals of trust and the leaking of secrets emerging. So be very wary who you're interacting with. Overall, try to stay around people with whom you have harmonious relationships. Watch out for seniors. They're the most susceptible to turbulent thoughts and different types of turbulent feelings. They've lived a whole life of lived experiences of traumas and disillusionment. So shield your grandparents and your parents as much as you can. In that same energy, mental states may be unstable. So if you have or you yourself have any mental health issues, really make sure to nurture that. And if you have people around you who have various different conditions, make sure to help them ease the stress so that they're not fully head on with this energy. You may find that there are people who say inappropriate things or behaviors that could be considered boundary crossing, things that will not make you feel comfortable. Stay away out of that. There will be a lot of people showing like hidden pathologies and obsessions or even perversions. So stay away out of things that make you feel uncomfortable or make you feel just like it's not the right type of energy to be around. You may be surprised by the types of people who say it, because it's kind of like a energy that will evoke things out of people. So things that people have sort of subdued and buried deep down, those ideas and presentations of themselves will emerge during this time. So some of this will not be intentional. They may not even be aware of how this shows up. And so just be very tactful, walk on eggshells around people, and you may not want to react because it's an energy that is bigger than all of us. And so people don't like others to know their secrets. And if they say the wrong thing and you're around and you make a big deal out of it, this can extend the energy in a long way forward. But don't worry, just be tactful and use your best judgment as to how to handle each situation. It's different. Make sure to stay safe beyond everything else. You may expect power games and manipulation attempts as well. So it is that kind of darker, sinister side of Scorpio that's coming out with this full moon, and that's why I'm making this video. If you ever have or any kind of pattern of scapegoating, be it a life pattern or you're currently in a situation where you are experiencing being the scapegoat, be very cautious with this energy and watch your back. Likewise, if you're in a situation where someone around you is being scapegoated, be careful of engaging in any malicious behaviors at this time. Those malicious behaviors can really throw you into some darker energies you don't want to be around. I would say no doing magic at this time. I know a lot of people say don't do magic at eclipses, but I think this full moon is a time to stay away from magic. I think some light magic of protection, Reiki, things like that would be good, but I would be very cautious with any esoteric work. This is because this full moon opens portals to possibly dark energies, and you don't really know what kind of energies that you are coming up against. So it's better that you are careful, safe than sorry. You may experience vivid or disturbing dreams at this time. You may have all sorts of different dreams. It may not be all bad, but if you're having nightmares, kind of night sweats sort of thing, this is because we are so close in this Scorpio energy. We're so close to the boundaries in Scorpio, okay? And the moon is furthest from the earth, so there's this stretch of the psychic thresholds. But again, I wouldn't play with it, not because in and of itself psychic practice is bad. It's that when you get so far away from the norm, then it sort of becomes less guaranteed and less stable. For those of us who are dealing with addictive tendencies of any kind, be it coffee, sugar, or something more serious, those may intensify at this time. The positive side of this is that you may identify your behavioral patterns that are addictive in nature, and this may help you to identify and remove any negative behavioral patterns that you're engaging in. But definitely try to stay sober through this weekend and into Monday. If you lose your appetite, this is a strong download that I got. Something may be stirring around you, something beneath the surface. Depending on how strong that feeling is, this may be a warning sign from your intuition that you need to watch your environment. Avoid making predictions until after the full moon on May 13th, 2025. This is one of the reasons why I'm deciding to do this reading tonight on Friday before the moon enters Scorpio, so that we get some kind of message to prepare ourselves. But I'm not entering this energy head on. One of the things that really brought my awareness to this is that people who wish you harm may reveal themselves. Pay close attention, but don't interact. They may be inadvertently showing their true nature, and sort of like I said in the beginning, a narcissistic unmasking, something they think is funny or powerful and great. They may not be aware how that's coming across to someone else. So overall, just be careful, be tactful, don't worry about the energy. I do think that this is a better energy to stay away from big groups of people, but on Monday, May 13th, the moon will enter into Sagittarius, and that will be a big turnaround for this energy. I already mentioned this in a previous video, and I'll link that in the description for you guys, but it is a kind of a night and day energy. And this is why through this weekend and into Monday, you want to maybe mind, who you are around and what kind of situations you're engaging with. So hopefully I caught you guys in time with my message. And then I will do the tarot card reading now. Despite the fact it's quite dark outside, I think I can make it before sunset. And so hopefully I'll get this video out to you tonight. And if not, then tomorrow morning. But my intention here is to make sure that you guys are safe. And I hope you take this not as a definite event that will happen in your life, just some things to watch out for so that you can work through this energy. I think this full moon is the best for self-awareness, to recognize where your kind of darker sides to your personality are. So what are you feeling that could be improved? Are you experiencing shame about beliefs or behaviors? That shame may be actually pointing to the fact that you don't feel so comfortable with those behaviors or beliefs. Maybe this is something that you can change or rectify. And I would be wary around other people, especially people who are erratic or people with whom you don't have a good relationship with. I would just stay out of direct interaction with them altogether. Okay? Thank you guys so much for watching, and let's do the tarot before it turns dark. Good morning, everyone. It's Farouche. Last night it got too dark, so I just thought I would save this into the morning. So here we are with your reading. I just finished the astrology part, and when we're done this, I'll put it together and you guys will have a look at it. Overall, I was really happy with the astrology explanation. I don't mean to make it sound scary or make you worry, but I could see people getting into situations before the full moon. And so my intention with that presentation is to make you aware of the potential of that so that you can avoid it as best as possible. Anyway, so let's take a look at your tarot cards. So first off, I got this card as the last card here, and I actually don't know this card. Some decks have like an extra card. So you are one, authenticity. The authenticity idea or metaphor has been showing up all over the internet. So maybe this is just to remind you that you are the one. You are the one that matters, and please disregard any ill will from other people or bad intentions. I also want to remind you guys to do this and answer a question down below. Some of you guys asked for sample questions to answer in the comments. So what is your favorite way to show kindness or to make someone's day better? That's perfect for this energy. Also tell us your moon sign, sun, and rising. Okay. So let's begin. In the first row, we have the King of Cups, the Four of Cups, the Ten of Cups, the Page of Swords, the Hierophant, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Sun. Okay, so there is something really beautiful in this energy for you. The whole reading is rooted in the King of Cups, which is the Scorpio card in this deck. You see? And so the King of Cups represents a male or female in some cases, possibly a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. But the energy is that of a person who has gone through various different life experiences, and they have come to realize certain beliefs about life, and they have gain that lived experience. So this is coming from a place of knowledge, insight, and wisdom. There is something that you have said no to, or you were hesitant about, which is the Four of Cups, okay? There is something you feel hesitant about or not too sure. Your attitude or your disinterest in the situation led to some degree of learning that you experienced as a consequence of that. In other words, you weren't very excited about something, and then you learned that you should have been more open to it or more optimistic about it. This is informing your mindset throughout this reading. So there's this really deep lived experience influence. It may be in the form of a person, and then there is your reflections about a situation in which you said no to something or you showed disinterest, and that was a learning opportunity in which you learned that thing that you should have shut down, you should have been more open to. Okay? There is a lot of positive energy from other women around you or women around you. They're showing love and care and camaraderie. There's a sisterhood in this energy that's very, very strong. So relationships between women actually are looking extremely strong. This means that if you find yourself in one of these predicaments for Scorpio, you may actually experience a lot of support and camaraderie within that. Be a little wary of the masculine energy, whether you're a man or a woman. There is this energy of possibly immaturity or wanting to just immature, Page of Swords. So saying things quickly or being unreasonable, being immature. Someone's tossing in a monkey wrench into the situation. This could be a person with Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra transits. This person showed up in our pick a card reading that's linked down below, and they were creating confusion or conflict because of their disposition and their temperament. But here, this is the part of the road that I personally really like. We have the Hierophant, the Knight of Pentacles, and the Sun. This to me seems like a hero, okay? I'm not sure who this hero is. It's going to be different for every person, but there's a lot of loving and wonderful energy around them. There's a lot of wisdom. They could be a Taurus because the Knight of Pentacles represents a Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn, and Hierophant is associated with Taurus, but it doesn't have to be, and it doesn't have to be a man, but it's a person who's going somewhere. They're coming or going, and they're bringing all this positive energy into the picture. So we have knowledge, wisdom, someone who's very down to earth, won't mess around with things, and they're bringing a lot of joy and happiness. So I truly love these last three cards here for you. I think that the whole row looks optimistic and hopeful, even with this learning lesson and this interjection energy. I think that in some way it's just a mix of things that are happening together. In the second row, we have the Seven of Wands, the Ten of Swords, the Knight of Swords, the Two of Swords in the center, the Seven of Pentacles, the King of Wands, and the Lovers, okay? This is so interesting. If you watch the astrology part, I used Dolly's painting, and it's featured in this card, the same. Well, there's several cards, there's several paintings incorporated in this card design, but they're all Dolly, and so it's showing up again. So we have that dreams, memories, and ironically the paintings that Dali did were not actually dreams. They were memories of the area where he grew up at, where there was a very specific type of landscape that he kept painting. And on top of that, he was painting these memories, which I thought is a really beautiful way of looking at it, or a reframe. So we have the Seven of Pentacles. Maybe this card drew me in first so we can look at it closer. There's this energy of investing into the future. There's an energy here of investing into the future, making a promise for the future, and maybe not spending everything all at once. This is coming from wisdom, and it's going to have a very positive outcome because below it is the Wheel of Fortune. So this leads to prosperity. So if you're looking to buy something, or if you've bought something and thinking of buying something else, you might be this might be signaling for you to take a break or to save your money for something. It's going to lead to a good outcome. You'll be happy later that you did. So we have the Seven of Wands here. This is quite interesting. This is a very strong line here, and it actually reinforces this card right here, which is the Ten of Cups. Let me show you that for a minute. In the daylight, these cards look so beautiful. I was trying to get the reading out to you guys last night. Sorry it was dark, but I was trying to avoid like Friday night mishaps for people. I missed the boat on that, but hopefully Saturday and Sunday will be safe now. Okay, so we have the King of Cups, the Seven of Wands, and the Empress. And so the Seven of Wands, to me, in this position, looks like you're really standing up for yourself. And maybe the King of Cups is you in this context. You have a wealth of personal experiences and knowledge. You are drawing upon that, and there's wisdom behind your actions. And so here we have the Seven of Wands, which is a defensive card in the sense that you're protecting yourself or defending yourself a certain way. You're making sure that you're all right and that everyone else is okay. If you've been watching my channel for a while, maybe you remember our goldfish joke. It's like the joke was memory of a goldfish, and so you guys were my goldfishes when I used to have the daily show, and so we have a bunch of goldfishes around the girl or the woman, so because goldfish have a memory of 5 seconds. So anyway, so we have this kind of drawing upon experiences and coming into situations with a lot of resiliency here. And that resiliency turns into the Empress, okay? So you are evolving towards something that you desire. You are evolving into this representation of yourself. Likewise, if you're desiring to be with an Empress, for some of us that's true, then you will be moving towards that manifestation. You will be moving towards that type of situation or that type of circumstance. So if you want to embody the Empress energy, then the standing up for yourself moment is a representation of that. Whereas for those people who are interested in being with an Empress, such as getting married or partnering up with a female, then they will find for themselves in a trajectory by standing up for themselves. They are leading themselves into a position in which they are in the company of an Empress. In this position, the Empress, sorry, I'm jumping ahead the line, but it's important. This can actually be signifying that the Empress is bringing in a stress energy. So be wary and take your time with this. There could be a challenge that your relationship with her represents. This to me speaks of Empress as mother as opposed to partner or wife. But it looks as though there's a strong feminine figure, and in some cases a sister or a cousin, a very strong domineering sister or cousin, someone with a strong personality comes in, creates stress. Now this person in and of themselves is not the problem for you. Well, they are, but let me explain. They are not evil. They are not here to hurt you. However, there's something within the relationship that's hurtful or difficult, and so that's what you are really having to deal with in this case. There's hurdles that you have to overcome with regard to this relationship. And so she comes in with things that are very hard for you to deal with, or she represents something, or there's something that is difficult for you to figure out in this situation. However, it is the right path. Like, you have, if you are meant to be with this person, if this is the path you're on, then you have to do these steps in order to get there. Okay, so let's go back to row 2 before we get carried away. Okay, so some of you guys may be feeling a little bit alone, and that's a pretty strong energy here. Remember, the Scorpio full moon is a lonely moon, and the fact that it is with Lilith so far away, it's at its furthest position from the earth, the apogee, it means that we're emotionally disconnected. And so Scorpio being such a dark sign, this kind of energy can feel very overwhelming in circumstances like this. When I'm under astrology that has such a heavy isolationist sort of energy to it, I remind myself that that's the case. Like, you're by yourself, that because of the astrology in part, or at least you're feeling the impact of that so much right now because it's in this position. So feelings of loneliness, isolation, feeling abandonment, all those kinds of things may be happening for you at this time, or you might be feeling those things at this time stronger. This may be tied to turning down something, which is the 4 of Cups. So you turn something down and you may regret it, such as a nice invitation that would have been nice, and then here you are, you know, the solitary queen or king, and you're dealing with the consequences of it. Now, I'm not a good person to ask about isolationism and all those kinds of things. I'm a Virgo with an Aquarius moon, so I'm very, very attuned to quiet. And so, I sympathize, but in terms of suffering because of being alone, it's not like a core issue for me at all. But for those of you who are, and we're all under this energy, so I'm sure this is affecting me in some way. I actually can think of a situation in which I turned something down and I wish I hadn't. But anyway, we have the 3 of Swords is here. And so, working through the feelings and missing an opportunity or two is character building. It really helps you to not make the same kinds of decisions when bigger opportunities come around. So whatever you've missed out on, yeah, it may have been good, it may have been great, but maybe there was a reason that happened, and maybe this sort of prepared you for bigger opportunities and bigger things that you want to do. And the awareness, it was like a pinprick to avoid something bigger. So you have this sense of being alone or isolated, or have sort of withdrawn, and there are like hurt feelings, the 3 of Swords attached to it, but maybe it's not the worst type of situation. Maybe it's just a learning opportunity. So we have the Knight of Swords, and I wonder if the Page of Swords is not changing into the Knight of Swords. This to me feels, this is a 10 of Swords, which is Sun in Gemini, and the Knight of Swords has the Gemini sign on their arms. If I was a twin and we were Geminis, that's what I would do. That kind of a tattoo, I like the ones on the hands where they're kind of linked at the like this part. I don't know what it's called. Okay, so there is a sign here, which is the 10 of Swords and the Knight of Swords, that someone is causing confusion. Now, this brings me back to our pick a card reading, in which the Page of Swords shown up again in a couple different spreads. So I think it's happening for people that there are people that are maliciously interacting with others, who are trying to stir the pot or hurt others or be hurtful. This is really unfortunate, especially if you're already feeling lonely or alone. But I really feel like that energy is short-lived, and in fact, maybe this is the end of it. However, under this energy, this person shows up and once again externalizes, their own insecurities and tries to create confusion. The main signature that I see with this is stirring the pot. So there's a stirring of the pot type of energy. This leads to some degree of confusion. This is at the center of the reading. There is information that is being held from you or that you don't know. This is the Two of Swords. And whatever is going on under this full moon, just remember that this Two of Swords is here in the center. So you really need to wait until the 13th when the moon enters Sagittarius and watch my pick a card video below. It didn't get pushed because I haven't picked a card in a while. I created pick a card and then I stopped making it because it was getting spammed. But I'll go back to it now. And anyway, so I did that pick a card reading and we talked about the moon in Sagittarius. And in fact, that Grand Trine on the 13th, 14th, and 15th is the opposite energy of the Scorpio full moon. And so into the Scorpio full moon, we're coming in with confusion and the Two of Swords, lack of information, lack of clarity, not being able to make a decision about something. And so when that full moon happens and after it happens and the moon enters Sag, I think a lot of people are going to be getting the answers that they want. And the important thing for you to know is if you're feeling all of these triggers and all these things are happening, then just bide your time a little bit, and then information is coming to you. Remember, there's this energy of waiting, and then in the latter part of the reading, this reading doesn't have a specific structure, but this kind of side is kind of the outcome. This is the beginning, and this is kind of the middle, right? And so these cards over here are talking about things coming in, so your solutions are coming. In other words, don't react to this full moon. Don't react this weekend. Just wait for more information to come. It's not what you think it is. And when you have the information, then it's going to really help. Remember our first card, which I do like. I just don't know how to read it. It's the card of authenticity. Like you are one, okay? I don't really know what you are one means, but authenticity is great. So we have next is the Seven of Pentacles. The other thing that I want to say is that this Gemini energy, this Knight of Swords, it could be an Aquarius, Libra type person, male or female, doesn't have to be an air sign. Whatever they're doing, it may not be intended in a positive way towards you, but the outcome helps somehow. I know that very clearly. So whatever they're doing, however they are being hurtful or trying to create harm, it's going to backfire in the sense that whatever they're trying to do against you is going to be elevated and you are going to in turn benefit from their actions. I found my little bell so we can ring it for good luck. It's a crystal bell. Yay. Okay. And so let's keep going and talk about where things are going. So you have the Seven of Pentacles, which is the card of the investment. Invest your money, save your money. There are good outcomes for those who do. Then we have the King of Wands and the Lovers. There is a really strong indication. Now, this could be two people, the Knight of Pentacles and the King of Wands, or one person showing up in different ways, different sides to their personality. It really looks romantic for some of you guys. Now, not everybody's going to fall in love, but there's a Lovers card. If it's not lovers, then someone sees in you fraternity, like a person of a like spirit. So they see in you whatever qualities you embody, and they're coming in with support and help. So all of these cards are extremely powerful and optimistic. Whatever the outcome of this full moon is, it's coming. It's just not coming when you think that it will. Like, it's coming after the full moon as opposed to under the full moon. So I feel like you are experiencing huge high regard from someone, huge esteem. People respect you. They like you. They have these positive feelings towards you. And there's the Lover's card, which for some of you will mean love. I'll show you the sun with it. Love and relationships. But for others, it's just a person who sees in another person a like-minded spirit, a like-minded energy. So compassion and love. Okay, so we sort of talked about the Empress and the Three Swords. In the meantime, in the beginning, whatever's going on with the Empress and the Three of Swords, it is going to be difficult to accept. So there's some kind of change, or there's some kind of demand, or there's some kind of energy that's hurtful emotionally, but you are going to get over it, which is the Chariot. The Chariot is associated with the sign of Cancer, and so you will get over it, and you will find a way to reframe the situation so you feel better. Likewise, any attacks, their jealousy. Somebody's jealous of your connection with other, particularly women. There's someone who is jealous. This is the person that's causing the stirring of the pot. The outcome of this is the Chariot, which is things will work themselves out. Things will work themselves out. There's going to be a solution to this that emerges. And I think not with too much of your interjection. Now, there's another energy here. I've had these cards on the table since last night. I didn't really read them last night, but I noticed this card. That was the first card I noticed, and it was the Three of Cups. Do you know what this looks like to me? That certain people coming back into a situation with you, like a reunion or reconnection, they may have secrets. So be careful. I think that this is like a future energy that's just showing up. So I think that there could be more to a situation, might be tied to the Page of Swords. So be very careful who's, kind of there again. Especially if you're being invited to like coffee or something else to catch up for, lost days or lost time. I have a feeling that there is secrets in that situation. Now, maybe for some of you, this will be a person who's immature, who reaches out to you and wants to make up, or they want a chance to connect with you on a relationship level. So they have a crush on you and they want to let you know. So just be careful. You're going to essentially hear from someone who's going to want to reconnect, but that reconnection is different. Okay, it's different. So we have the Hierophant, the Seven of Pentacles, and the Wheel of Fortune. We talked about this. So saving money is going to yield for you the outcomes you want. This Queen of Swords is really interesting. She's a Gemini, Aquarius, or Libra. And of course, with the tarot cards, it could be a man or a woman. So be a little bit open-minded, and can be any sign with possibly some emphasis in the air signs, or they may have like a very airy energy. Now, the Queen of Swords is the queen of divorce and separation, but don't worry about that. What she is a keen mind, a very sound mind. She's very smart, and she's very good at making decisions or cutting through the BS. This is someone around you who's protecting you and shielding you. And so this Queen of Swords is assuring that your outcome is going to be very positive. So in all of this, now it brings me back to this 10 of Cups from the beginning, that women are your protectors. There is a strong feminine energy of protection here to yield you to the outcomes that you desire. So you have a guardian angel, the Queen of Swords. And no matter what's going on, there's this really strong friendship between you and someone else. These are whatever's going on under this full moon. Do not engage it. Beautiful things are coming. On the bottom, we had the Emperor card. Now, this can have something to do with relationships, but it can be just you. You are stepping into your power. You are stepping into something great. So it's pretty exciting, whatever it is. And like I said, I think that Grand Trine on May 13th, 14th, and 15th is going to be really great. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. And I hope you have a happy full moon, and stop doing magic and divination right now, please. Okay? Until the 13th. Okay? Take care. Bye.